Oh, we have a very special guest today, ladies and gentlemen. So long ago, I should say, I was an intern at Nickelodeon, specifically for Nick Jr. And here's one of my fellow NickTurns. And in fact, we worked in the very same department at Nick Jr. Digital. And here we are. I'm going to say the word 6 years later, and we're going to have a special reunion. She has joined the podcasting sphere. She has a great career in her own right. And it's time for us to introduce to you the amazing Nicole Clemons. What's up, Nicole? It's great to see you. How are you?
It's great to see you. Hi. Hello.
What's going on? How's everything been? First of all, like I said, we met. I know it's now, I don't know if uncomfortable the words to say, but it is it's 6 years. It's a long time.
6 years.
There's been quite a lot of changes amongst our
our
whole world, our industry, and yet we're here thanks to the powers that be of social media to stay in touch. I saw that you are about to launch a podcast very soon, which we'll get into. And here we are now. So I guess to start everything off in a broad sphere, Nicole, how have you been? How has the last few years treated you?
Oh man, it's been a lot. I would say in like one word. It's been a long time. A lot of changes in that 6 years. Graduated college, got my first full-time job. Still in that first time full-time job. So
look at that. Where is that?
Surviving
exactly?
a pandemic. I currently work at Haymarket Media, and it's a publishing company. We have like a business media side, but I work on medical communication. So I started as an assistant editor there. I do have like prior journalism experience from college, and that's what my major was. So started as an assistant editor, got promoted. I think now it's been a year and a half to associate editor. Yeah. Learning a lot of medicine stuff. Once the pandemic happened, I felt like I was an expert in COVID related content. So it's just been a whole bunch of just like learning a whole bunch of healthcare things. So
definitely
crazy.
You went to Baruch, right?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Technically at business school. So it's I did the journalism program and was like in the arts and science department or school, I guess you could say. And I was also like editor-in-chief of the school paper for a few years and wrote there for quite some time. So it's been, I feel like that was like ages ago. Like the whole college experience was so long ago that it doesn't even seem like I even did it.
Tell me about it. I mean, not only pandemic aside, who would have thought when we entered like many years later, a whole pandemic, and it's glad we're at this point. And I know we still have ways to go, but we're at least definitely a step in the right direction, seeing the Pfizer vaccine getting fully approved by the FDA. Hopefully soon seeing children getting the vaccine to have those numbers go up to get that herd immunity we're looking for. And I know at least this week, Fauci was the great Dr. Fauci, of course, as Anderson Cooper said, hopefully if things go to as planned, we could be seeing fall 22 as a quote unquote back to normal. But obviously anything can change for the better or worse. But all we could do is, listen to science, do our part. And we got this, I'm sure. And don't want to, don't want to hound you too much on that because I'm sure you get enough of it at work. But do you feel, at least on your side in the communication sphere and working in healthcare communications, do you feel at least we're still keeping that step in the right direction? Take the politics, conspiracies aside. Can we at least trust that we are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, whether it's a big light or small?
I hope so. From the journals that I've been reporting on and looking at and editing from, I think that as long as people keep getting vaccinated, once they get vaccines, the trial for 12 and under kids to get that approved and make sure that there's no serious side effects for them. As long as we keep heading in that direction, I have hope, because this is just not it. Like
Yeah,
I'm
right.
so tired. I don't I feel like I don't even remember what it was like to have like a normal like life where it's like no
Yeah.
mask and just like going out freely, and it's just everything is so much harder. So I do hope that that eventually like things will get better and improve, just as long as people keep getting vaccinated. And people start, I know that they're in, I think starting maybe next month, they're going to allow booster shots for
Hmm.
people. I think that is just like another indication like the shots work. We're still
Yeah.
trying to figure it out, because of course they're not going to last that long, just like how the flu vaccine doesn't last very long, and
Hmm.
it's kind of like a yearly thing. I do think that maybe COVID vaccines are going to have to be a yearly booster type thing. So
Right. So at almost a similar equivalent as getting your flu shot every fall, going to your CVS, your Walgreens.
mhm.
It is likely that for the rest of our lifetime, there will also be that COVID vaccine option.
I
Don't you
think
think?
so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, until they can keep working on the science and try and find like just like one single shot like they've done for other immunization vaccines that kids get, um, I think this is just going to be a part of our daily, yearly routines. So
Look at that. Well, like we said before, we won't harp on it too much because everyone's exhausted from it. But
I know.
the end of the day, listen to science. I understand. Well, I mean, not quote unquote understand the opposition. I understand that everyone has their right to an opinion,
Mhm.
but at the end of the day, for this unique, once in a lifetime situation as a pandemic, I hope people can let go of their pride, think of their fellow men, women, and people alike,
Yeah,
and we can have our lessons learned and have a better future because of it. So
for
let's
sure.
do
I
our part
agree.
individually. Let's turn
Yeah.
it back. Like I said,
Yeah.
we started interning fall 2025. Wow, why did I say that? Fall
2015.
2015.
I know. I was like, wait, we didn't hit that
Yeah,
yet.
we got a while to then. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to think 10-year anniversaries, but
Yeah.
let's talk about that. I mean, we had one really great core of people.
Hmm.
It's great to see our other peers doing well, whether in the communication sphere or
Hmm.
advertising. I've seen some others, or filmmaking, or whatever. I
Yeah.
want to say, so 6 years later, we were led by Katie and Amy, and
Hmm.
look where we are now, making our own content. I want to say, or I want to ask you, Nicole,
Hmm.
6 years, like, and we worked in the exact same department. I believe you were there Monday through Wednesday, while I was there Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, I think so. I think I did Monday, Wednesday, and then you were the yeah. And we like had to share a desk. And sometimes
Yes.
like I would like write you notes, just be like, yeah, this is what I got up to. So if you want to
Mm-hmm.
do the rest of it, and I'd be
Oh,
like, I hope he
yes.
sees the note. I hope nobody like cleans the desk and like takes the note away. So
Oh, it worked out. I got your
yeah.
notes, and we have those special like colored stickies,
Hmm.
and it was quite a time. And when we were working on those silly shorts back in the day, and
Hmm.
I even still bring that up every time I'm winning an interview and such. It's funny how those type of short term videos are still a thing and growing even
Yeah.
more. But
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much to reflect off for there. But first, do you feel what you learned back in your internship then you're still using in your, your job, your first entry level, then promotion? Do you feel your NickTern experience has been carried over throughout your career, both personally and professionally?
I think definitely personally, professionally a little bit,
Hmm.
because my role now, it's a combination of like writing articles sometimes when I can, editing them, but also just managing like production calendars and
Yeah.
making sure like things are coordinated correctly, and that there's no technical difficulties. If we have to post something in WordPress and it goes wrong or something, I've technically become like the point person. So
Mm.
kind of just like having that coordinator role and just like using those skills that I learned from the Nick Jr. internship just to just be in a sheet and organizing things, because I remember we had to like organize time codes and stuff like that
Yep.
for clips and stuff.
Oh
So
yes.
being able to manage that, I think I definitely still use to this day. Yeah.
Yeah, look at that. See, I feel the
Mhm.
same way too, especially on a work ethic standpoint
Mhm.
and being on top of things and how much people rely on you, no matter if you were, if you were an AP or you were an EP or
Yep.
you were us a PA or us as the interns, everyone does
Mhm.
really rely on your work and you can't let anyone down. And I also learned how very cutthroat the industry is. Not that that's a
Mhm.
bad thing, but it's a good way to still keep yourself on your toes and make you a better worker.
Yeah.
So I do still hold those lessons I learned dearly. And whether I took it with other internships or PA jobs since then, and even now on this show, it
Mhm.
really is funny how, and also very neat how some of the stuff we learned back then we still use today. And I
Yeah.
think you can attest, like, do anyone who's trying to get in our industry of communications and content creation has gotten so much more of an emphasis now
Mhm.
and stuff like that. Like, go for these big internships, whether big names or small. Go for it and go for that as soon as you can. Like, I think I didn't
Yes.
start looking for an internship till junior, and I'm
Mhm.
very fortunate. And I believe you
Yeah.
were a junior as well. We were pretty young
Yeah.
in that sphere. Like a lot of our fellow interns were getting ready to graduate and such.
Yeah.
And like, I would just say go for it now. You just have to be over the age of 18. And if you show an ethic and you show a passion, you'll
Mhm.
more than likely get those first opportunities, which will help you post grad and so on. I can you also add on to that and elaborate for any of our
Yeah.
listeners who are trying to get in our industry?
I think that it's so important to like you might be a freshman or a sophomore and think that like, oh, I have time till I get an internship and I don't really need to do that right now. And of course, like focus on your studies, but I
Yep,
think getting into internships that are allowing sophomores or even freshmen and starting early is so key. And I wish that I had started earlier than I did
mhm.
and gotten as many, like just really applied for myself. And don't be afraid to apply to a lot of places, because
Yeah,
I didn't really apply for internships at multiple companies, and that's kind of something that I wish that I've done, because even if you don't get those internships, maybe you might get an email back with someone else's email address, and then you can connect with them on LinkedIn, and just
definitely.
like then you have a connection there because they've seen your name, they've seen your resume. And even if you don't end up getting the internship, you still have that network, that you're building, and just start young on it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And you know, one thing that happened to me, so to be to attesting what you were saying and
Mm.
showing these recruiters especially that you really have a passion, you want to do a job well done.
Mhm.
So Nick Jr. is actually the second internship I interviewed for that fall or that summer coming in. I originally interviewed for an internship at Spike TV, which is now
Mm.
Paramount Network,
Yeah.
and I didn't get it for whatever reason. But glad I did because, well, this would not be possible right now if it
Yeah.
wasn't. And well, I must have made enough of an impact, not to toot my own horn, to the recruiter. And
Hmm.
there was still enough time while they were still recruiting. And I can't remember the guy's name, but the HR recruiter at Viacom said, "Hey, Matt, I have this other one if you want to interview for." And I did. And I had an awesome fall after that. So
Yeah.
if
That happened to me too. Yeah.
look at that. Do you
Yeah.
remember where
I
you originally did?
I think I originally interviewed for MTV.
Mm,
I think I did MTV and then I didn't get that. So then they offered to for me to interview for Nick Jr. And I was like,
see?
yeah, sure.
Let's go. All that
Yeah.
on-air promotions team. And
Hmm.
see, it's a great full circle and the power of networking and staying in touch like this.
Yep.
You can make content with your fellow colleagues. So
Yeah.
don't give up, my friends. Seriously, keep pushing for it. And also understand, maybe to keep those references intact. And some references will go other way than others. I want to make that clear as well. Like, for instance, after Nick, I entered at CNN, and I had this who I thought a mentor at the time. I don't take it personally now, but he said, "Hey, Matt, you did great. Stay in touch with me, and we'll see what happens once you graduate." And I never heard from him again. I must have sent him like 5 emails once every 2 months. And that's just really the game, how it is. I want to make that clear, and don't take that personally. Don't be cynical like I was at first, because it only leads to anger. Anger takes your emotions that will lead to bad decisions. And I want to make that clear. Maybe the first or second or third person may just use words, and to use younger terms, be a fake person.
Yeah.
But I just want to make clear that there are genuine, decent people who will still vouch for you for that. And they may not have an opportunity right away, but they'll at least still vouch for you when that opportunity comes, and you make a name for yourself, and it can lead to another opportunity. That, for instance, there was I at one point worked at A&E Networks, and I must have interviewed there like 2 years in a row, but I was still, in good spirits with my reference at the time. And I got this project gig in the summer to fall 2019. And, she didn't have to do that. And I was emailing her as much as the CNN person who was ignoring me at the time. But that's just how it is in this industry. It is competitive. You don't necessarily need, special, qualifications like someone in med school or law school. So, but if you still have that passion, hard work, and you network correctly, and just still have if you're not afraid to get rejected and have patience, you will get through. You'll make your own impact here. I'm sure you can attest to that, Nicole.
For sure. Yeah. After the Nick Jr. internship, I had applied for a spring internship, and I think also summer, but those are kind of more competitive because a lot of the colleges that are in the Midwest kind of go for the summer internship so they could spend the summer in New York. But I kept applying, and I remember the summer afterward, I was like a super senior, so I had to spend an extra semester at my college. So I wanted to take like the internship course that I could just use the internship as a class credit.
Yep.
So I had maybe interviewed about 3 other different places. After that, I interviewed twice, once at MTV, once at MTV News. The first MTV one, I didn't get that one because there was like a technical error where they hired two people, me and someone else, but on the same schedule. So they had to like let one person go. So all that summer I spent like trying to interview. I interviewed at the Tonight Show, which was really cool to be able to like go into the actual building. And I'm sure I saw Jimmy Fallon because he's like very tall, and I thought he like walked in, and I just couldn't even like bring myself to like look at him for too long because I felt like so like starstruck. But that didn't end up working out for me. But then I was able to get on the very first day of school, right before I had to like officially enter for this internship class, the recruiter was just like, "Hey, we have one more interview for you if you want to still do it." And I was like, "Yes, I want to do it. I'm about to head to school right now, but like I want to interview for this." And interviewed for it. It went well. It went pretty well. And I got a call like maybe a few hours after the interview saying that I got the internship there at VH1. So I did like a VH1 multi-platform programming internship afterward. So it does work out. You just got to keep trying.
Yeah.
I think you just can't give up because even if you talk to other people and they're just like, well, maybe you should try something else in the meantime, or like all that stuff, and you might see that as giving up. And it's just like, if you keep pushing for it and just keeping that network and showing face as much as possible, I do believe that good things will come. Yeah,
absolutely. There's no reason why you can't get what you want or strive for. I mean, to be fair too, we can't always get what we want, but as long as you work hard and kind, good things will happen.
Yeah.
And with that, there's no reason why we can't do something that satisfies us. And that's what brings us here today. We're still so young and have so many years to go. And we're just going to keep pushing forward. And I'm so excited to see what you're going to pull off, Nicole, and
Thank
what
you.
our other fellow NickTurds and other colleagues. And don't be afraid. I want to make that clear. Just don't be afraid. And one last thing, too, to add, or I should say two things to add. One, that's the same thing that happened to me at CNN. If this was the fall 16, I interviewed a lot in the summer. In fact, I did another Viacom interview that I was already moving back on campus, and they said no. Again, no hard feelings, whatever. But I did a whole week of my spring senior semester, and I remember, so I did both, was also in the business school and our communications, and I was taking an intro negotiation class, and I did really bad. Like the person beat me, like the very first, right? So the next day later, same thing. The person named me at the time said, "Hey, are you around? Are you available?" I said, "Yeah, let's do it. I'll figure out whatever I have to at school if I get it." And I didn't even have a suit. I remember I borrowed my roommate's suit, which was like 2 sizes bigger than me. In fact, it was a Skype interview before the Zoom did it. And I interviewed at like 9:30, and it was like 2 p.m. I was hanging out with my friend Brad, who I'm so close with, at lunch, and I got the offer and I was out. And I remember I was telling my professor, I was going to take 2 classes with him, Dr. Ogilvy. I hope you're doing well. And he's like, "Matt, was it the negotiations class you're leaving? Because you did so." He literally said, "Because you did so bad." I said,
"Oh no,
no, Doctor, I just have this opportunity. I gotta go." And he supported me, and I had him again this semester after I had to take a winter semester. It took like 12 credits work to make up for the semester I missed. But it was worth it. And I was there fall 16 when we had the infamous 2020 election at a big news network. And that was intense.
Oh, yeah.
Been
That's an experience.
It's been a long time since then. And Nicole, I remember that day. My internship was a Wednesday, Friday. So you have election day Tuesday.
Yep.
I remember going to bed thinking the candidate I want, and Clinton is like, "This is cool. We're gonna have a first woman president, and we're all gonna start a change of lots of great things." And then we know what happens.
Yeah.
And it was rainy. It was almost like the sun was sad or whatever, the world.
Being in New York City that Wednesday afterward was so bizarre. It was crazy.
Yeah.
People were there, but people weren't there. Like there was no life to anyone. So
exactly. And remember, it was like really raining that day, and you just saw like everyone was nervous at the time. And we're so lucky that we're now can look back on that Mr. Trump didn't get a re-election, didn't win a re-election, I should say. And we're starting another era. Whether you agree with it or not, again, people are entitled to their opinions, but at least on a morale standpoint, I think things are better. And I think, and that's my personal opinion. And we're just, on our way to figuring out the mistakes. I mean, it doesn't help that in a pandemic during it too, but I think we can always go for a road to recovery and, learn from our mistakes and just get better from it.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree.
Not giving up, as you said. So
now,
are you still in New York, Nicole?
I am. I actually just moved to Brooklyn in the middle of the pandemic. Yeah, last October. So not just, we're coming up on a year, but my first apartment outside of my parents' home. So
look at
it's
that.
Very making moves.
Before we get into that adulting, there's one last point I want to say. So last but not least, regarding the media and getting your name in there and making a name for yourself, putting your foot in the door. Whether you went to a big communication school or a smaller communication school, I mean, a university in general, I want to say, we're fortunate to get into a big media conglomerate internship in Viacom. Well, Viacom at the time, now it's Viacom CBS.
Yeah.
But You went to Baruch College. I went to University of Hartford, and they're great schools. They may not have exactly the name or influence like a lot of our others. We went with a lot of NYU students,
Oh,
University
so
of
many
Maryland,
NYU. Mm-hmm.
Syracuse, and yet
Mm-hmm.
we were all in the same place.
Yep.
So I want to make that clear. Yeah, maybe these other schools might have a more connections and influence, but again, as long as you prove yourself, doesn't really matter where your degree comes from. I want to make that clear
Right.
too, especially when
Yep.
you're getting your internships and entry level jobs.
Yeah. I have a coworker who went to Fordham, and I got waitlisted from Fordham, and I was very upset about it at the time, but I was 17, so whatever. Um And so we were talking about it one day, and I was like, "Yeah, I got waitlisted from there." And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And I'm just like, "Why? We ended up at the same place."
Literally.
And she was just like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "No offense."
Duh.
But like, yeah. So it's just you have to just apply yourself and just try to work toward your goal, and don't forget your goals, you know.
Don't forget them. Make
Mhm.
that clear. Don't forget them. And again, we're only at the beginning of this and we're only going up from here.
Yep.
So let's switch it up again, Nicole. Let's talk about some NYC adulting you've been doing. You moved
Yeah.
to Brooklyn. Was there a specific preference for Brooklyn? Did you just always admire it? Did you want to be like the cast of Girls?
Oh God. Oh
Did you
gosh.
did you
No.
did you want to just see other obviously lots of people in our age love Brooklyn. Did you
Yeah.
just want to see it for yourself and make your own story there? Any reason why you
Well,
picked Brooklyn?
I grew up on Staten Island, so I
Mhm.
felt that Brooklyn was better.
Yeah,
And still not too far away from my parents, so like a 30-minute car ride. So
perfect.
that was really key. My roommate is a friend from college, and she spent a lot of time in Washington Heights, but eventually she moved out to Brooklyn and Flatbush, the Flatbush area. And so we've always wanted to like eventually move into a place together, just so that we could have like our own personal space and get away from family essentially. And so we were looking for a lot of places during the pandemic. We found a broker who would like take us on like FaceTime tours of apartments, which was really
Yeah.
nice of her. And
Mhm,
I was like, this is so nice. Thank you. Cause I don't
mhm.
want to go outside right now. Because it was so far away. Because I was still on Staten Island, so even commuting into the city or Brooklyn was still treacherous.
Yeah.
Um, and so we found this place from a friend through a friend on Facebook, and my landlord, it's like a home. So the landlord is actually like a professor at Brooklyn College. And
Okay.
I was just like, things are falling into place. Like she's really cool, and she's like a film professor, and like
Ooh.
she's such a cool person. And so I was just like, this is a good sign. We could do Brooklyn. Like we don't have to go to Washington Heights, because the space in Brooklyn, I just feel like you just get so much more space. And the fact that this is kind of like a single family, but she converted it into like a 2 apartment style thing,
All right.
that I was just like, this is going to be the better choice. Right close to a train and uh, shopping area. So kind
Okay.
of walkable to Prospect Park. It's still like a treacherous walk, but like it's
Get your
still
exercise
doable.
in.
So exactly. So I thought it was really cool. We do get a lot of fireworks, so if you do hear fireworks, that is what's going on in the back. But yeah, I liked Brooklyn. I didn't really want to live in Washington Heights.
Mhm.
So it was a lot of convincing my roommate to be like, let's go to Brooklyn. Maybe we could find something there. It's not too far away.
Right.
So yeah, I do like the area.
At the end of the day, most of the neighborhoods all blend in and look the same. And in a
Pretty
way,
much.
I
Yeah.
mean, you could obviously, if you've been there a long time, you could notice the difference. But in a
Hmm.
general sphere, you're still in New York City. So you
Right.
can't beat that. And,
Exactly.
she could watch In the Heights to get the feel and
Oh,
stuff
we
like that.
did. We
Great movie,
did.
by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I,
So
I tagged Anthony Ramos and I had a friend Chris Thomas, we were talking about movie musicals, and I just tagged him and he looked at the whole story.
Oh, he did. That's so
Yeah,
nice.
seriously,
I
I've
love when people do that, like celebrities and stuff. It's
oh
fun.
yeah, I like to tag a lot of celebrities. I'll only look at the part they're tagged in, like fair enough.
Hmm. Yeah,
But Anthony looked at the entire story, and
that's
hopefully he still
nice.
remembers it one way or the other.
Yay,
As
Anthony.
one day he'll be on the show. That's the goal.
That'd be cool.
And yeah, so anyways, out of Brooklyn, have a good time. Oh, and also my brother moved to Staten Island. He's going to
Oh
Wagner
yeah.
College now.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Yeah,
It's a good
so
school. It's a good school.
he's a freshman. He's gonna play football there, and we're very
Oh
proud of him.
wow.
And
That's great.
so
Congratulations. That's like I think probably a 10-minute drive from my parents' house.
no
Yeah.
way. Let's
Mm-hmm.
go
It's pretty
Seahawks.
close. Yeah, Seahawks.
Yeah, so we're excited for that Staten Island connection. May I say
Hmm.
also, as a native Staten Islander,
Hmm.
did you like the King of Staten Island?
Oh boy. Oh man. I feel like I'm not supposed to like it, but I think I appreciate it. I like Pete Davidson a lot.
Oh
Let's just
yeah,
get that out of the way. He's
definitely.
say what you will about Pete Davidson, but like I just like him as a person.
Of
So I
course.
don't know. But if you take the fact that it's set in Staten Island out of the whole situation,
Mhm.
it's just a movie about a guy that keeps messing up and trying to get his life together, you
Absolutely, and get
know?
to the next chapter of
So
his life.
exactly. So I did like the movie a lot. I tried to show it to my roommate. She did not like it. And I was like, whatever, it's fine. I feel like it turns people off a lot because it is named King of Staten Island. And I was reading somewhere that like Pete Davidson didn't really want it to be named that. He was going to name
Mhm.
it something else, but then it was suggested to him to name it like that. And he was like, I guess, fine, sure. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, but I feel like the title just turns people away because like he's not the king of Staten. There's no king of Staten Island. Like
Yeah.
there's no like iconic person that I could think of. Well, Christina Aguilera, but like there's no other iconic like Staten Islander, that has all this attention and could be called that. So
Mhm.
if it was just titled something differently, I feel like it would have. And if it wasn't released in the very height of the pandemic, I feel like it would have done a lot better.
Right. Yeah. That wasn't even in a theater at all.
Mm.
That was a pure
Yeah.
video on demand.
Mm-hmm.
And
Because you had to pay for it. It
yeah.
was like 20 something. I think it was like 20 something dollars just to rent it.
Right.
And they were like, no one's going to watch this. So I feel so bad about that. But what are you going to do? He's fine. They're all fine.
Absolutely. What are you going to do? So back to the adulted part of
Yeah.
NYC adulting, is like we'll call this a segment. So
Yeah.
living in Brooklyn now, enjoying your times. You said you were able to have access to the park and you're able to have
Mhm.
access to shopping centers. So now at this point, and as you're still growing your career, have you liked and enjoyed a commute? Well, I should say first, are you working from home or are you commuting?
I am working from home. I haven't been in my office since March 11th, 2020.
Wow. Is there
Hmm.
stuff on your desk that's still like, I
Yes.
need to get that?
Yes. Yeah. There are maybe 5 boxes of tea in my drawer.
Oh, no.
They're I know they're like totally expired now. I remember there was a bag of chips that I was very excited about, and they're probably like disgusting.
Oh, boy.
And I recently saw a coworker of mine posted a video a while back, but I didn't see it until recently, where she was in the office and there's a sweater on the because we sat next to each other. There's a
Mhm.
sweater on the back of my chair, and I was like, I forgot I had that sweater. I didn't even remember that I had it and now I want it again. So that's
Mhm.
like one of my key like things is just like I need to get back into the office to get my things, but
Simple as
um
that.
yeah, haven't been in there since then. Very long time. It's insane. It's I know some people that have been in the office
Mhm.
and like people's plants are like all either dead or just growing
Oh,
crazily.
well, I'll take the
So
growing
it's
crazy part.
yeah, yeah, which is nice, but I don't know. I don't know if we'll go back. I
Yeah, I
mean,
was gonna ask, is there an anticipated time to come back? Or are you still seeing where things are going?
yeah, it's a voluntary return, I think starting September 13th, which
Mhm.
is matching up with the return for New York public schools.
Right.
But I will voluntarily stay home because I don't really want to go in.
Might as well if you don't have to.
Eventually, right, exactly. So I think eventually it will be like a mandatory 3 days out of the week return. But with this Delta variant, I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't, they're saying that they're just playing it by ear from CDC right now, but
fair enough.
I don't think so. I think
Mhm.
it's going to be some time till they make it mandatory. But yeah.
Well, we still have the fall
Mhm.
and the holiday season. That's a good time to still
It
wait it
is.
out. I feel at least.
Mhm.
And I mean, New York in the fall, nothing beats it. And the
Oh
holiday
man.
season in New York. And then it gets
So
cold and
excited.
then it's miserable, but you don't have to
True.
worry about that for a while.
Yeah.
So I feel that those months go pretty fast, and hopefully, with now more also at the end of the day, more people getting vaccinated, we can all reevaluate by time 2022 starts, and it'll
Yeah.
be good from there. So, my next question with the NYC Adulting, can I ask for anybody who has that aspiration, who has that dream to have a part of their life in New York City? What would you say to that person? What would you do to encourage them? I understand, obviously there's finances involved.
Mhm.
I know it's been a tough time with crime recently, but
Mhm.
that is with everywhere. But at the end of the day, being a young person, wherever you are in life, what would you say for someone who has that dream to move to the big city still in this, climate we're in?
Yeah. If you have that dream, I feel like I was lucky being born in New York City, as long with
Mhm.
like everyone else born in the tri-state area or near New York.
Yeah.
But um I think that if you do have that dream and you're like, you want to move to New York and just get a job here, and just to be successful, I think you have to just keep trying and
Mhm.
not to give up, because once you start doubting yourself and your abilities, then it's just, I feel like it's downhill from there. You have to try and have not mental stability, but like the the self-confidence that you can achieve what you set out to do. um and eventually I think you'll be able to make something happen. It's hard. It's really hard. And if someone says that, oh, it's easy, they're lying. It's so hard. um but I think it's really important, especially now with everything that we've been through, that you have to hold on to at least something that's positive in your life and something that gives you inspiration. And if moving to New York gives you that hope and that positivity and that inspiration, like try and find a way to get in there, whether it's doing waitressing for a little bit
Mhm.
or um working some odd job, babysitting, dog walking, something.
Temping, all that.
Exactly. I think that there is a way. I feel like there's always a way um to try and do what you want to do. And don't doubt yourself. Don't doubt yourself, because we are our harshest critics. And
For real.
I think we need to have more self-compassion. This is
Mhm.
something that I've learned in therapy. So now I feel like this is a therapy session, but like I feel like people need to have more self-compassion toward themselves and really just be your friend, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Sometimes we are the only person we can trust,
right.
and we have to be our biggest cheerleader too.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I say this in the most respectful way. It's okay to have a healthy ego, not a
Hmm.
cocky one where you think you're
Right.
above yourself, but it's okay to believe in yourself. And I know ego's a very specific word that can make you think, oh, he's full of
Yeah.
himself. But in this sense, it's okay to just believe in yourself, have that confidence. And then once you're on that other side, don't forget to pass on that compassion as well, because all your opportunities, someone had to go out there for you.
Right.
And there is luck involved with that as well.
Yeah.
But just remember, it's right to be decent. It's good to be
Hmm.
decent, and it will get you good places. And my
Right.
last question regarding the NYC adulting is: once you've made it, you get an apartment, you have a steady job and steady income where you can afford your rent, your utilities, your food, your laundry situation, all of that. Once you're finally in there,
Yeah.
what's next? Are you would just take it all in? Do you have to focus on the next step? What would you say once you're finally able to get into that next step? What's next? What's the best move forward for you?
Right. I think it just depends on like what you want to do.
Yeah.
For me, it's just like accelerating my career, doing things, trying to apply to things that I actually will have interest in and want to do, and I think would improve and allow me to have like a lifelong career in something that I want to do, as well as working on creative projects like with the podcast that I'm working on, or
Definitely.
learning new hobbies or something like that. I think it just depends on what you think the next focus might be. If you are have an apartment and you want to like get a bigger apartment or something like that, then that might be someone else's focus for the
Mm-hmm.
time being. It's just like trying to find a better place to live and all that stuff. So I think it just depends on the person. Yeah, for
All
sure.
right.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, Nicole, giving us gold. And that will transition us to our next segment here. And what brings us here today. And I will give the floor to you. So, as I
Yeah.
mentioned, Nicole Clemons has joined the podcasting sphere. She is
Yeah.
the host of the Former Child podcast, which will very soon be on all podcasting platforms. Now I'll
Mhm.
hand it off to you, Nicole. Talk to my listeners about what Former Child is, elaborate on it, and where
Yeah.
do you want to see this go?
Yeah. So former child, um, I used to write that in like bios for social media, like I'm a
Mm-hmm.
former child, just as a joke. But I've always had an interest. I've always had an interest in just movies, especially movies from childhood and
Yeah.
like things that I just loved watching as a kid. I have an older sister and a younger brother. And we're
Mm.
kind of evenly spaced apart. I'm obviously a middle child. Can you tell? But she's 5 years older than me. My brother's 4 years younger than me. So we've kind of in the same
Mm.
range of things that we had interest in, but
Yeah.
kind of also separate. So I got a lot of just like 80s kids from my sister stuff and like
Yeah.
or like late 2000s kids from my brother's stuff, and just blending those mix of just movies that we used to like to watch and TV shows and video games that we used to play. So I always wanted to ask. I like asking people like what did you do when you were a kid? Like how did you spend your time? What was your favorite movie? And I think asking someone, I feel like this is also a good like dating profile opener, or like if you go on a date with someone, it's like, what was your favorite childhood film, um opening that kind of like Pandora's box of just things to talk about is would be great as a podcast. And I have my
I
guests
agree.
I have my guests watch the film right before we discuss it, so that it's fresh in their mind and they can view it in the eyes of an adult and see if it really holds up to today's standards. And just to see like why they liked the film so much and how that kind of influenced who they are today. And I think it's fun. It's fun. I've recorded a few episodes, so it should be launching soon, but I will let everyone know. It should be on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, as well as other streaming platforms, such as Stitcher or Google Play
Yep.
eventually. Um, but yeah, we're I'm working on it. I'm working on it, but it's fun. It's really fun to have these conversations and to watch films that like I didn't grow up watching. Like I think some of the episodes, one of the episodes we're working on is The Karate Kid, and even though that's a classic 80s film, I've
Yes.
never seen it. So it was fun to watch it and to watch it with someone who loves the film and grew up just like quoting it with their siblings, and seeing that inspiration while we're talking about it and why it's such a favorite for them really stands out to me. So yeah.
Absolutely. I love the concept. I love the idea of it, especially in a
Thank
world
you.
where we appreciate films more and
Mhm.
television and looking at them as not something to waste time, but as a legitimate medium of art and
Yes.
storytelling.
Yes.
And I know we talked about this offline, but if you ever wanted someone else on, I would love to be on, because
Oh,
I
for
I know how to
sure.
I would answer that question, but I would obviously save it for the show.
Okay.
And
I
yeah,
was
like,
gonna ask you. I was like, do you want
oh,
to
I
talk about or a few of your favorites if you want?
oh, we could go all day. I mean, look at the back of
Yeah.
my wall.
I know.
It's all over here. I really obviously love film and
Mhm.
cinema, and I got a more of appreciation of it in I got more of appreciation of it in the pandemic as well. What else were we gonna do? There
Mhm.
was a time I was watching
Right.
5 movies a day,
Oh
but
wow.
now I'll watch it in any language, and
Wow.
no matter what time period it came out, no
Mhm.
matter the genre, I just learned how to love a good story.
Yeah.
And if you asked me a couple years ago, would I watch horror movies or science fiction? That wouldn't be my first choice. But now
Mhm.
I'm love it as much as a good thriller and comedy, which is my personal favorite. And I
Yeah.
love a great drama. And yeah, like that, something like that, I think is really sweet. And when we see those early films as a child, that makes us understand characters for the first time and
Right.
understand stories. It
Mhm.
shows that when you break things down, it all is a universal language that we can all enjoy.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
on the podcasting part of it, how have you liked going into this new medium for you, at least? Like, how have you liked becoming getting the equipment for the first time and recording and seeing this great industry keep growing and growing? It's relatively young. I think
Yeah.
it's really podcasts are really only named in the mainstream only for about 10 to 15 years, really, and we're only
Yeah.
growing from there. So what do you think about the whole podcasting industry now, and as you're a part of it?
Yeah. I think it's super unique because I remember, especially like in high school and in college, like really early on in college, podcasts were something that I've known about, but just never like really listened into. And then
Yeah,
sometimes I'll go through waves of just like binging a whole bunch of just like I really like mystery podcasts and true crime podcasts and
definitely.
stuff like that. So those are just like really fun and easy to get into. But it's grown substantially, and it's
Right.
so I feel like now there's so many different platforms that really help you pave the way to like make your podcast. And you don't really need the fanciest of mics. I mean, we have fancy mics, but like
Mhm.
you don't need the fanciest of mics or headphones or stuff like that to really make them anymore. And I think that that's been really, really nice to see. Um, and I think I feel like it's one of the mediums of just entertainment that has just skyrocketed in like the
Absolutely.
past like 5 years out of nowhere. Cause it's sometimes like it'll have like a little bit of like popularity and then like no one's really talking about podcasts, but then a
Mhm.
new podcast comes out and like everyone's all gung-ho about podcasts again. So I think I think it's really strong, and it's not going to go away for a long, long time. So
Absolutely.
it's definitely fun. It's fun to do. I like talking to people and just
Mhm.
like especially about something as fun as like childhood movies and film and
Absolutely.
stuff. And even just this conversation, this is just fun to just catch up. And sure, it's
Indeed.
recorded, but it's still fun, you know. So
Oh, no doubt. And it's
yeah.
great that we are able to make this content out of it. And I thank you for allowing that to happen, of course, and all
Yeah.
my guests at the time and the guests of the future. It's very intimate. I think that's what I
Hmm.
learned to appreciate. Like, I love interview podcasts. Obviously, I'm doing one, and I do have appreciation for the story aspect of true
Hmm.
crime. And it's so easy to do. And our lives and this world has only made us busier, and it will make us busier. And
Yeah.
it's and as we're moving out and about, sometimes it's hard to, do the simple things, just reading a book or able to watch a show, because the
Yes.
world's making us work harder. So now, as podcasts have been introduced, especially in the pandemic, you can go a whole day working while still listening to something and get
Hmm.
something out of it.
Yep.
I realized that concept, and I felt you could be productive with it, hence the productive conversation.
Hmm.
And for others, they are just doing their best to get informed, inspired, and entertained. So I think that's what's special about the podcast, is it's really personal, and it can
Hmm.
help people through a lot. And
Yeah.
it's so cool. And it is a lot of work. I know people have that joke, everyone has a podcast. I really hate that
Yeah,
term.
I
I really
know.
think that's a bad joke because
It's like not everyone does,
like
you know?
seriously, people might try,
Yeah.
but when you realize all the editing you have to do and the podcasting hosts you have to pay for and getting your
Hmm.
RSS feed out there and stuff. Now, I'm not saying that to discourage people. I'm saying if you
Right.
want to do it, it's not an easy and breeze as some may make it out to be. But if you
Right.
just put effort into it, only it just takes me about an hour to record and an hour to edit and
Hmm.
do all my copy and social media and editing. So just
Yeah.
2 hours of hard work gives the world a great content. And
Yeah.
why not do it? And
Yeah.
I just want to see more people do it. And it's, as you mentioned, it's relatively affordable to get the
Hmm.
equipment you need for it and just go from there. You never know where it's leading. And because it's
Yeah.
so new, there's way more opportunities out there as more people are going. And that's why I love seeing people like Call Her Daddy or
Hmm.
someone who's a few years older than us just got paid $60 million and Alex Weber to be
Yep.
exclusive to Spotify and being such an influence to our generation.
Yep.
Or, Joe Rogan. I know not everyone likes Joe Rogan, has
Yeah.
various opinions, but as someone who just reinvented himself in his career,
Hmm.
that's what a podcast allowed him to do. Or Mark Maron I think that's a
Yeah.
better example because of all the
Yeah.
people he gets to interview and stuff.
Yeah.
Or Conan
I think of
O'Brien,
Conan O'Brien, Dax Shepard,
Dax
Armchair
Shepard,
Amp. I'm just like,
Whitney Cummings.
yeah, it allows people to have like really nice, genuine conversations. And I
Yes.
think that is missing. It's missing because you could shoot text messages off to people. I mean, you could also do like the voice message to people, and it's just not the same,
Mm-hmm.
even a phone call. So in especially in the pandemic when we can't be near each other as often, I think that definitely having this podcast and this platform and just being to be able to talk to the people that you know and just have good conversations, productive conversations.
Indeed.
It's fun. It's really nice.
As
Yeah.
simple as that. And that's when I thought of the concept. Like I'm just doing what the show is about, having productive conversations. And because that could be so broad and just giving all the people I'm lucky to have on the show a platform, it shows that the worth people have. And it's productive for me, productive for you and the audience. And we're only going up from there. And the same for what you're
Mm-hmm.
about to do with Former Child. And like I said, it's just going to be so cool what you're going to do with it, Nicole. It's
Thank
so
you.
sweet. And I can't wait to advertise and brag about it for you and let the listeners know. And we're just going to keep rolling from there.
Yeah. Yes, of course. Of course.
So I'll just one last thing on the podcast before we switch it up one more time is like, do you remember like some of those early podcasts or stuff that got you into the medium? Like I always been a radio person. I started like Mike and the Mad Dog with our kids growing up in the tri-state area with my dad. It was like, oh, it's cool. They're talking about sports, and obviously a humongous sports fan. And then got into Howard Stern with Sirius XM in high school. Then the first podcast was the Mark Maron podcast, simply because I would YouTube the Howard Stern interviews someone would illegally put on. And they would just put Mark Maron in the suggested box. And it was Mark Maron's, I think, his interview with Conan in 2011. And I was like, wow, this is really sweet. And 8 years later, I'm doing it myself. Like, that's what I just like, the genuine conversation. The first Howard Stern, Seth Rogen on Howard Stern in 2010 as one I remembered. Then Jonah Hill after that's like, okay, this is awesome. Let's like talk with my friends or family and you can do cool stuff with it. And now in college, I just expanded more with it. And I have all these podcast references over here or back there. And
good
that
inspiration.
Just reminds me what you're going for with it. So that's what got me into the medium. And obviously pandemic hits. I was working at a casting company at the time that right before the job actually ended in January. I was gonna get another job in March, and then we know what happened. So after watching a lot of movies for 6 months, I needed to do something else. So with a stimulus check and some odd job money I was saving, I bought the equipment, and now we're here. So that's what brought me to the sphere and doing it myself. Like you mentioned your passion for the true crime and stuff like that. Is there anything else you want to elaborate on that, on what got you interested in podcasting in general?
Yeah, I've been talking about the concepts for my podcast for a few years, but I never like put my money where my mouth was and
Mm-hmm.
got into like actually doing it, looking into the software to like do editing, audio editing, and even creating the thumbnail. Like I knew that I had the skills to create the cover photos for it,
Right.
but I didn't even get to do that. So eventually I kind of just like was like, I need to be able to do something with my time and
Mm-hmm.
have my creative projects and be proud of something that I'm doing
Definitely.
creatively. And I was really into, when we were in the office at that point, just listening to podcasts just to get work done, because at that time the work was very repetitive and I could just like
Right.
do it without not focusing, but like not having as intense focus as some other jobs would. So I would listen to things like there's a podcast called Lore, and that's kind of like supernatural stuff.
Mm-hmm. I know
Which
Lore.
is, yeah, Lore. um Now I'm into listening to the daily every single day because it comes on my Alexa. So
Yeah.
I have that part of my routine, and it's like I'm getting the news. I don't have to watch the news, but I'll just listen to some news. What else did I listen to? In college, I was listening to like um stuff you missed in history class, or
Oh, that sounds
there
interesting.
was another one that was kind of like stuff that you didn't know, or stuff, yeah, something like that. So I was doing a lot of like historical stories type things. What else do I listen to recently? I've been listening to a lot of like fiction podcasts, which is,
Ooh.
I feel like, is a completely different beast, because you have the voice actors, you have the background sound effects and all these other things, and it's just so dramatic. But it's like reading a book, but it's like an audiobook technically, but
Yeah.
there's just so much emotion, and there's different actors. So um there's one there's a few that I listen to, and I can't even remember all their names right now. There's one called Bridgetown.
Bridgeport,
I might
Connecticut.
No, I think I'm definitely like messing that up right now, but something like that. There was
Okay.
one called Limetown, and that was pretty popular as well. Um, and yeah, so fiction podcasts is kind of where I'm at right now in terms of listening to them. But I did grow up I did grow up in like listening to like historical podcasts and stuff like that. So
Look at that. And
yeah,
we're only growing from here. And glad to
yeah,
have you with us in this great podcasting industry that's growing, and
yeah,
we're the future's bright. Simple
yeah.
as that. So just two more things, Nicole, before we call it wraps. I just want to simply just geek out on movies really quick with you as a fellow cinephile.
Yeah.
Do you have a letterbox?
A letterbox, like a mailbox or PO box. Sorry, I don't know what you mean. Sorry.
No worries. Letterbox is a app, like a social media app for cinephiles, and people just write reviews, and you can friend them, like them, and stuff.
Oh,
It's really cool.
I didn't know. I have to write that down. I didn't know
Yeah,
about that. Letterbox.
letterbox.
I don't have a letterbox, but now I'm going to look into it. So thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And please follow me, anyone, at mbrown3212. So it's honestly a way to track my movies, and I like reviewing them every time now, or not the deep AO Scott type of reviews,
Mhm.
just jotting down thoughts.
Yeah.
And I was just simply wanted to ask, what are some of the recent movies you've watched and really enjoyed? It's
Yeah.
also what's really cool about streaming services now. Now, I actually literally have all of the big ones because I'm
Mhm.
crazy. I have the Netflix, your
Mhm.
HBO Max, Peacocks, Apple TV, um, Hulu,
Hello.
and Amazon Prime, and I
Mhm.
will Stars and Showtime, and I will make sure I watch all of them again, only because I'm crazy. But I like them all, and that keeps my letterbox. And I didn't realize how much of genuinely analyzing film and perspective and storytelling has helped me understand the world more and what people
Yeah.
thinking. And I'm just curious, bringing this all back to form, what are just some movies you've recently seen that you have really liked?
That's a good question. I feel like I can never remember what I last watched,
Yeah, there was a
which
time I was
sucks.
like that, but that's where Letterbox comes in for me
that
personally. I
that
just
that would be
simply jot
great.
it down, and
Exactly.
they have a 5-star system, and then you can write down what you think and see if other people agree or disagree with you.
Mhm. I'm trying to think. I did watch the new Space Jam movie. That's one that's coming like immediately to my head.
What'd you
It
think?
was okay. It was
Yeah,
okay. I think
big HBO
I
Max
just
a Warner Media commercial.
oh man. Yes. So many references and I'm just like when will this end? Also LeBron James not the best actor. No offense, but like
No,
I think Michael Jordan was a better actor than you were. I'm going to have to rewatch
fair enough.
Space Jam, but
My favorite actor and turned movie star. Well, not movie star, but actor. Sorry, athlete turned actor. It's
Mhm.
Ray Allen, and He Got Game. Spike Lee joint. I think that's the best example. Jim
Wow.
Brown's been has had some good movies as well.
Yeah.
Those who I pick, and LeBron did not stand when he said, "What in the Matrix hell is this?" Do we had some
Oh
convincing to.
man.
I actually gave that a 1 star
Oh
in
really?
this out of
Yeah.
5.
Man. I agree. I
And
agree.
I know some people's like, oh, you only think that's because of kids movie. No, I learned that kids movies
No.
it doesn't make a difference. It's great writing and great acting, no
Mhm.
matter what the demographic
Right.
audience is a good movie. And yeah, when you have bad acting, you have CGI effects that are corny, and then just any way for Warner Media to let you know what
Mhm.
they've done,
Right.
it's annoying. And I
Yeah.
think the first Space Jam had just had some charm to it that the
Mhm.
new legacy didn't have.
It had Bill Murray. I mean,
Yeah, there you
like
go.
you
Everything's better
can't
with Bill Murray.
exactly. What else have I watched recently? There's this trilogy because we were speaking about you were speaking about horror for a little
Mhm.
bit. There's this trilogy on Netflix called The Fear Street. I don't know if you've
Yeah,
seen
isn't that
it.
like Fear Street, like 1984,
So
and
it's
then
1994, I think
94?
1976, and then 1666, and it's based off of
So it goes backwards
Goosebumps.
in
Mm-hmm.
that sense. Okay, I like that. I
Mm-hmm.
like it. So tell me why you like it.
Oh
I like the idea,
man,
I should say.
I am not big on like horror or thriller, and I forced myself to watch it because I heard Goosebumps, and I was like, I like Goosebumps. I can't
Hmm.
like pass this up. It is, it's the acting. Some of the acting is good, some of it's but
Hmm.
the plot is just really really good, and I liked how they melded three different worlds together. And it's scary. Like I had trouble sleeping afterward.
Legitimately scary, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of just like super gory, and it kind
Oh.
of just really allows you to relive like those campy horror films. So like
Hmm.
the 1994 one kind of gives you Scream vibes, and then
Okay.
the 1976 is definitely like Halloween and like
Yeah.
Murder at a Summer Camp, and then 1666 witch trials stuff.
Ooh.
But the way that they just put everything together, I think it's just really well done and unique for Netflix. I don't think they've done a trilogy movie series like that before.
Mm.
It's usually just like, well, I mean, all in like 1 month. So if they did, like, for example, Kissing Booth, which I'm not gonna watch the third one. I
Yeah,
don't
that
know why I watched the first two, but I'm
I was
not
curious
gonna
to see
watch
what was up, but that was just tacky. Those
it. It's
ones, and you
no
make high
offense,
school
but
people look awful,
they do. They
and
do.
just generations. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
just the thing, and I think that didn't work with the prom as well. It didn't really hit some standards.
I forgot about that movie.
Sorry to
That's
bring
how
it up
like,
again.
oh man, that didn't look good at all. That didn't
No,
look good. I also
great story, but
yeah.
the real life story is great, but the adaptation didn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, yeah. So that reminds me of like Cats because James Corden was also in the prom, right?
Yeah, he had
And I was
a
like,
bad year
Yeah,
in film.
it's like not good, not good, James.
I know I didn't see the Friends Union yet because I'm actually watching Friends for the first time. So I was gonna wait till
Same.
them. Really?
Yeah.
How far are you
Yeah.
in?
Oh, season one still.
Me
That's the
too.
thing. Like, I'm trying to rewatch so many different. Like, I'm also in the middle of watching The Simpsons, and that's kind of like my let's go to bed
Nice.
type of show because I grew up watching that when I should not have been watching it. But
Mm-hmm.
like, I remember 7:30 or 7 o'clock,
Yep.
Channel 5,
Oh yeah.
growing up all the time, just watching The Simpsons. But to see kind of like where the character started and like going into now 32 seasons, I
Yep.
guess. It's
They
just
hit
like it's
that.
so different. It's so different from how it used to be, which
Are you
is
gonna hit that 32? You're going for it? Might as well.
I think so. I'm gonna try, but like I keep rewatching the same 4 episodes because I keep falling asleep. So I think it's gonna take me maybe 32 years to do it.
Hey, it'll still be there, right?
Yeah, it will. It will.
Let
So,
me ask, put on the record now, Nicole.
mhm.
What is the scariest movie you've ever seen?
The Ring.
The Ring.
I didn't even like flinch when you said that. And that's
Yeah.
funny that we're
And this
bringing
is
that
the
up.
American version or the remake or the original?
The American,
Mhm.
because I think I haven't seen that movie since I was um I must have been 7 years old. And it was
Oh.
March 2003. My dad bought a like a bootleg copy from some guy.
My
And
mom used to do the same thing.
it was my sister's birthday. She wanted to watch it. So we're watching it. I had nightmares for a month. The only way I could
Oh.
go to sleep, like, and it wasn't even like Samara the ghoul. Like,
Yeah.
I've even remember her name. I've only seen it once. I it wasn't even like she was coming out of the TV in my dreams and coming to get me. It was just the thought that she existed.
Yeah.
And I just like I'm not a horror movie person. So that's
Mhm.
why when I was watching Fear Street, I was like, this is bad news for me, but I need to
Oh.
finish it because I'm stubborn. And The Ring is probably top tier scariest. Like I couldn't the only way that I would go to sleep after some time, like I would wake up at 2:30 in the morning, 8-year-old child, 2:30 in the morning, just crying because I couldn't stop thinking about it. To go to bed, I would sing the That's So Raven theme song in my head because I was trying to force those positive manifestations
Right.
into my thoughts because I needed something happy. So it was rough. It was rough for little Nicole.
Well, we're
Yeah,
glad you made it and past that.
I
And
know.
my scariest, and so when I would say the first scariest as a kid, but I love the movie now. In fact, I have a
Mhm.
reference right here of it. I don't know if you
Mm.
could see the first Jaws.
Jaws. Yep.
When I saw it, I remember I was on my way to school and it was on, someone had it on, and it was the scene where the second time the kid gets eaten, they have the
Mhm.
famous Dolly Zoom Roy Schneider saying, "Oh, shit's getting bad." And I
Mhm.
was just seeing him like, oh, and then I see
Yep.
the blood. I'm like, oh my God.
It's bad.
And it was like, it was a like end of school too. So
Mhm.
I getting ready for the summer, was freaking out. I didn't
Yeah.
go to the beach that one summer. But
Nope.
now watching it as adult, it really is a perfect movie. The score is
Yeah.
perfect, the acting, the directing, the suspense.
Mhm.
And I know people are like, oh, the shark looks fake, but the way they have the cinematography working out, you can, that's the point.
Yeah.
They have these close-ups of this monster because you're not supposed to, because you're supposed to be freaked out by it, and where you're
Right.
comfortable in claustrophobic situations like that. And
Yeah.
well,
I saw it for the first time as an adult like last year. That was one of the
really,
movies that yeah, that was one of the movies that I like binged during the pandemic and I was very impressed by. Like I
absolutely
was very anxious throughout the whole thing and I was like I
right,
know what happens like but still it's when it's well done like it doesn't matter if you know the
absolutely,
ending.
exactly.
Yeah.
So with that, I don't have the fear anymore. But the scariest movie I've seen, and I will not rewatch it unless you force me. So it's two, and it's ironically both the same director, the great Ari Aster, and
Mm.
A24's Hereditary. First, I saw like, you gotta watch it. And I did this as a
I
joke.
never saw it.
Oh,
I'm not
so
watching it. I can't do it.
I watched Heredity as a joke. I watched it in the dark with candlelight
Oh no. What is wrong
because
with you?
I was bored. It was pandemic time. I was like, let's
Oh,
see if
no.
I could, if this 25-year-old's mindset could hold it. And there are some disturbing images. I wouldn't say scary per se. It was a really
Mm,
suspension with some incredible acting in it.
mhm.
But that still gave me some type of heebie-jeebies. But the one that did, and I watched it in the daylight, and I didn't have nightmares per se, but like, oh boy, I've seen some stuff on the screen. I don't think uh,
No.
I'll ever get out of my head, and it's
Yeah.
Midsummer. You ever
Yeah.
see Midsummer?
Nope. I'm specifically avoiding any movie that they make. I can't do it.
A24
Well, no, Ari
or
Aster.
Ari Aster?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can't
now
do it.
like I watch it for the breaking your disbelief for the filmmaking aspect. That's why I watch it.
Mhm.
But I understand it. I would definitely understand where you're coming from with that. If you don't not want to get freaked out, it still is not worth it to have
Yeah.
that. Again, I'm
Yeah.
just crazy when it comes to great content in this world.
Yeah.
So I guess you will not be seeing they announced Disappointment Boulevard with Joaquin Phoenix in the lead. It says
Oh.
here the synopsis is Disappointment Boulevard is an intimate, decade-spanning portrait of one of the most successful entrepreneurs of all time. And who knows what that is. But Ari Aster has created some images on screen that I will never get out of the rest of my life. And it was
Mm-mm.
really odd and daunting. And I'm able to just I choose to put myself and be scared like that.
Mhm.
But if you don't want to have that type of fear, don't do it. It's really not
Yeah.
worth it.
I read the plot to Hereditary because I didn't fully understand it.
Mhm.
And it freaked me out so much that
Right.
I was just like reading this and imagining what happens with the actors. I was like, I can't do this. I can't put myself
Exactly.
through that. I need to be able to sleep at night.
Definitely. Now, if you
So,
love filmmaking or horror, definitely give it that one watch like I
mhm.
did. But if you don't, if you're gonna get, it's genuinely freaky, creepy, and
Yeah.
disturbing. It's probably the most disturbing movie I've ever seen, and I'll still go watch the video essays on it. But even those are
Mhm.
freaky because of just the imagery
Yeah.
that man pulled up with. But he's so talented, and I think he's amazing. Just
Yeah.
like, damn, what did
I
you come
know.
up with?
I know. I felt that same way when I saw Parasite for the first time.
Mm,
It's my brother is also very into film and cinematography, and he does production work sometimes.
all
And
right.
he kept asking, like, you got to see Parasite. You have to see it. When are you going to see it? Let's watch it. Let's do it. So eventually I like gave in and watched it. And I was just
Yes,
like, this like left me with like a pit in my stomach.
for sure. There are
It's
some
like,
really
there's,
disturbing images there too.
mhm. I don't think I can see that it's probably not as scary as Hereditary.
Oh yeah,
I
I would agree.
imagine, yeah, I would say like Hereditary is probably much worse and much more like gross looking, but it's still, if Parasite left me feeling like very uncomfortable for a long time, I don't think
For
I can
sure.
watch
Literally and
Hereditary or
figuratively,
Midsummer.
especially the
Mm-hmm.
comment on the class system and stuff
Yep.
like that. That's the real horror at the end of the
Oh
day.
yeah. I know. Absolutely insane. Absolutely. But so well done. So
Indeed,
yeah.
indeed. Just one last thing on the movies, then there's one more thing we have to do is just what are just some real good positive movies? Let's can end this on a positive note. Like any great comedies that you're a fan
Yeah.
of in general or inspirational stuff. Anything of in genuine recent times, maybe the past few years that really
Yeah.
had a great message and maybe wasn't too corny or tacky either.
Hmm. Um, man, good question. I One of my favorite movies, I guess, is, I'm gonna say it wrong, but it's Amelie. Amelie. It's from 2001 though.
Oh yeah, I know
It's
exactly what you're
French.
talking.
Mm-hmm.
Emily. I know
Yeah.
they have the girl with it's the green background and the red shirt
Mm-hmm.
with by Jean-Pierre Jeunet
Yes. Yes.
with
Great
Audrey
movie.
Tattoo. I'm
Tattoo.
saying, I'm so
Tattoo.
sorry.
So no, it's okay. It's
Tautou.
French. Yeah, her. Great movie. It always makes me feel so nice. It's beautifully done. It's beautifully colored.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
it just makes you want to be in Paris during like the late 90s, early
Hmm.
2000s, and just like puts me in such a good mood. Can't find it streaming anywhere anymore. Sometimes they have it. It used to be on Netflix, they took it off. It used to be on
Oh.
Amazon Prime, they took it off. It used to be on HBO Max, they took it off. I don't understand why they're doing this to me, but it's all in French. I took French for 4 years in high school. Don't remember anything from it, but
Oh.
I've seen this film so much that I just know what's going on. And I don't even have to like read the subtitles. It's just like good to have in the background. So that is one of my like top feel good movies, even though it's from like now over 20 years ago, but
Hey.
which is crazy because it's like 20 years ago. That's insane. But
Yes. I
yeah.
know what you're talking about there, but hey, it shows that a classic movie and a classic story will always
Mhm.
last. And for those who are curious, Amelie, it tells the story of a shy waitress played by Audrey Tautou who decides to change the lives of those around her for better while struggling with their own isolation. That is the Wikipedia synopsis on it.
Yeah.
And good news, I have this app called Just Watch, which is the Google of films and streaming service. And if you have the
Uh-huh.
Paramount network, you can watch it there.
It's on Paramount. I
Yes, it
gotta
is.
get Paramount.
Paramount, it's on Paramount Plus.
Yes, Paramount Plus.
And of those who want it for free, you could go on Canopy or Plex or Crackle with ads.
Oh, I'm gonna have to do that. I'm
See
gonna have
right
to do
here
it. Yeah,
for all
that's
those
great.
on the YouTube feed they could see, but on
Mm-hmm.
the podcasting, I am pointing the Just Watch app, which I highly suggest if you're trying to find a movie or TV show to stream or live theater, go to it. They'll have it for you and they will find where you need to, whether it's streaming or renting platforms. So that's a great thing to have.
Yeah, this is great. I'm learning so much.
Indeed, yes, Paramount Plus. So great stuff. I actually haven't seen that yet, but I know it, and I will see it within these next
That's
two
good.
weeks, and I'll let you know what I think because I've
Yeah,
also
please
heard it's
do.
great. If you care about what the IMBD, um, if you care about the IMBD score, it's an 8.3, which is very high.
Mm-hmm.
Anything
Yeah.
above 8 is a classic, in my opinion, according to them. And what's the Rotten Tomatoes? Because they really make us decide what we want. An 89 on Rotten
They do.
Tomatoes. So again, very
Not bad.
legit.
Not
But
bad.
most importantly is what you think besides what the
Yeah.
critics think. So check it out. All
Yes, I
right.
recommend it.
Indeed. Nicole, this has been a pleasure from start to finish. We're just about 117 into it.
Mm.
And there's one last thing I'd like to do with you called the Proust questionnaire. So they're 10 short but deep questions.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to hear your perspective on them. So are you ready for this?
Sure.
Let's get to it. My first question, the Proust questionnaire, is what is your favorite word?
Meandering.
Meandering. All
Yeah,
right.
I'm already forgetting what it means. It's like wandering without any destination, I think. I might be
Okay.
wrong. I should probably look into that because I would be very embarrassed if it's wrong. It following a winding course. So I was close. Yeah. I
Still
just like the
same.
way that it sounds meandering.
I like that meandering. What's number two question? And I mean, I'm the one who's asking. Number two is what's your least favorite word?
Oh, sloth just popped into my head for
Sloth.
no reason.
Really?
I
What does
don't
sloths
know.
do to
That
you?
nothing. Maybe I meant like slob and then I thought sloth at the same time. I don't know. I think I would say slob. I just don't like how it sounds. I also like have
No one
a
likes a
bit of a
slob.
lisp, so I just don't like sounds, I guess.
No worries on that. But
Yeah.
slob or sloth, I like the unique ones because no one has said those words anyway. So we will
Yeah.
take it.
Yeah.
My next question for you is now, this isn't necessarily a sexual question, but some people have dirty minds. And when I ask it, they think it. But this is more a life and fulfillment question. Like, I'm going to ask you something and I'm looking for what fulfillment you get out of it, or the most fulfillment, I should say. And that
Mm-hmm.
question is what turns you on?
Mm. Okay. Seeing other people succeed in something that they worked really hard for.
Oh, yes.
I think, especially if you really care about the person and they do something that and you're just proud, it makes you happy. I'm a very empathetic person, but like I think all around seeing people
Beautiful.
succeed is really great.
Love it. Love it. Now, having asked that, what turns you off?
People that are really mean for no reason.
Tell me about
people
it.
people that think that they're hot shit for no
Hmm.
reason. It's like no, nope, nope, nope. So yeah.
It always catches you one way or the other.
Mhm.
What sound or noise do you love?
There's the sound. I can't do it. I don't know if I can, but when you like click, when you click your hit your cheek and it makes the like boink or sound like
Or
the
like that
uh-huh,
water, like
that's
there you
I
go.
hope that came out clear.
That
I
actually
don't
did.
know
I heard
why.
it. I heard it
Okay,
perfectly. So, and we will
good.
enhance it in
I was
post.
like,
So,
that is the only thing that I know how to do. So
that's a good one. So, what sound or noise do you hate?
bones cracking.
Ooh,
When people like, because I don't know if it's jealousy because I can't like do it or if it's
the
just like
knuckle crack.
gross. Yeah, the knuckle crack, or like if they do like the neck. There was a TikTok where the girl did her whole body, and I was
Oh,
like, I don't like any of this. I could do without this. So
nice work if you can get it, I guess.
yeah, yep.
What's your favorite curse word?
Ass hat.
That's
Yeah, I say that a
a
lot.
great one. That's the first
Ass
one.
hat.
Another first one here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to use it because I know a lot of ass hats and I run into
Yep.
them frequently. What profession other than your own, or the many professions you're doing, I should say, that you would like to attempt? What is another profession you're interested in?
Screenwriting. I have
Screenwriting.
I have the dream that I want to write a pilot show based off of
Yeah.
my experience in college, running a student newspaper. So
Let's do it.
I feel like it's unique. No, I haven't seen anyone really do that before, and
Nope.
I just always have the thought to do that every day. I'm just like, why am I not writing something right now? So
Hey, it's never too late. You
yeah,
know, the hundreds of thousands of people who made a name for themselves who
yeah,
got into screenwriting and filmmaking later.
yeah.
And I'm sure once you're ready to do it, you'll be on that path to success. And we support you, Nicole,
Thank you. Thank you.
anytime. So, what profession would you not like to do?
Garbage truck.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't do the smell. Like, I think that
definitely
was the
not.
first thing that pops into my head. I can't do that. I think of like the show Dirty Jobs with Mike Rowe from Disco when that was very popular on like
Yeah.
Discovery.
Oh, I haven't heard that in a while. That's true.
Anything on that show? No.
That's a good
So,
one. Anything from that classic. And check it out
yeah.
on Discovery Plus. And
Mhm.
if my final question for today is, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say to you when you arrive at the pearly gates?
You did good, kid. I think
Indeed.
I think that's what I would like to hear. It's like you did good. So that'd be nice.
Definitely, definitely on the path for that. Well, Nicole, this has been nothing but a pleasure. I've enjoyed
Thank
every
you.
second. You know,
Me
as I'm
too.
also, I've been creating a pop culture correspondence team when award season comes up. I would love if you'd like to join us when it's time to do specifically more of the Oscar Golden Globes. I know Emmys are just around the corner,
Yeah.
but I have some football season to get ready for that. But right after, we would love when that time comes for you to join us, whether it's Mike and my buddy Chris, and we can all geek out and make the right decisions and compete
Yeah.
with E and Entertainment Weekly and stuff.
Yeah.
In a few months, would love to have you on it because I know you have a great opinion on what's out there now.
Thank you. Thank you. I would love to. That sounds fun. Yeah.
Excellent. I will definitely check in a few months with that. And it's looking into a great award season. I can't wait for Wes Anderson's flick to come out, see what
Mm-hmm.
Dune is worth all the hype and
Mm-hmm.
all the sleepers from the Sundance films that I haven't heard yet. Would love to hear your opinions on that as we develop a team there. So it'll be
Yeah.
great in a few months for that.
Yeah.
All
Sounds
right.
great.
So one last time, Nicole, tell us where can we find your social media accounts? And then what's the name of your podcast? Where should we find it when you launch it very soon?
Yeah, podcast is Former Child. You can search my name, Nicole Clemons, C Lemons. That's how you spell the last name. But
Perfect.
you can follow me, I think, Twitter or Instagram. I think they're both at Nicole NicoleClemns. So I'll be posting podcast updates there, coming out really soon for the first episode. Yeah.
All right. And we will let you all know when that drops. And again, that's my great friend, Nicole Clemons. Thank you so much for coming on. And we'll talk to you very, very soon. Have a great night, Nicole. And thank you again.
Of course. Thank you.
See you later.
Bye.